Hi guys, and welcome to the video. So today I just have some further thoughts and impressions on my first little dabble into Magic the Gathering Arena. So I got two games here which went surprisingly well, considering there's still a lot I don't understand in this game. I'm playing the green starter deck. I got a Magic the Gathering starter deck. It came with a black deck and a green deck. I'd say out of those two, I much prefer the green deck. And yeah, there's just a lot of things I don't quite understand about this game. Sometimes I've noticed I either win decisively or lose decisively. There's not a lot of middle ground. You know, sort of things don't ever feel that close. And I'm playing with this starter deck, and I'm just, you know, you obviously missed updates over the years and never familiar with the base set cards anyway. So just everything my opponents are playing, I just, you know, I have no idea what's going on. Like my opponent just played a card which is blue and red. It's playing like a kind of both types of magic, I guess it is.
Are fragile. What a refreshing thought.
And then here's something I just didn't understand. Well, I understand it. He has this legendary planeswalker, Jace. And I knew before playing the game that there was legendary planeswalker cards. Now this is where you get into like a pay to win situation almost, because you know I don't have a legendary planeswalker card, but my opponent has a legendary planeswalker card, so he can play it. You see here, I attack it. You can attack the planeswalker directly, or you can attack the, you know, the health, hero health bar. I don't even know what you'd call it. You know, the objective is to get that number down to 0. So I attacked the legendary planeswalker there just because I don't even know what he does really. It's Scry 2 is his ability, which seems like a pretty good advantage because you can kind of control what cards he's drawing. You see there, I think he put 2 on the bottom or 2 on the top. Didn't see that. But it seems quite, not overpowered, but like it's just an advantage that he has over me by having this legendary planeswalker. And it's like, I can attack it, but you know, I don't have any planeswalker myself. I don't know, I just find that a strange situation. One thing I like about this game compared to other games I've played in this genre is that matches do overall seem a bit shorter. Just more quick and snappy, almost prefer that to long drawn out battles, especially if you lose, right? Like if you play a long game or something and you lose, it's just really, really frustrating. And something else I like about this game is that it's turn-based, but you can, you know, you interrupt each other's tactics. You know, they do something in their turn, you can play something to counteract that. There's sort of a constant flow as opposed to just strictly turn-based. That's something I really enjoy. That can be also be annoying when you're just like trying to do your turn and your opponent is doing all these weird things, interrupting you, and it's just then it's their turn. You know, I think you've sort of got to balance out the mana. Sort of, you know, while the tooltip says like if you get a mana advantage when you counter your opponent, then you know. Now, here my tactic was to basically just get as many creatures down as possible. And I've got some really powerful creatures. Well, that one's very colossal. Deadmaw is very powerful. I think I'll honey mammoth soon. And that's sort of all I was really doing, because my opponent, he's got this legendary planeswalker and he's playing this red and blue stuff going on. I'm a bit confused what his tactic is. I've also got quite a few more cards than him as well. So I feel like it's going well, but it's really impossible to say. Like, he's got more health than me. I keep on thinking to myself as well, he's got this S-Cry too, which just allows him to... There you go, 2 on top, so he just knows what he's drawing is what he wants, kind of thing. Well, that's how he should be using that ability, I guess. I don't actually know if that Jace actually does anything else, or whether it's actually worth killing. Didn't even really look at the card anymore. Like, something I don't do, which I should be doing, is sort of checking out what the cards do, but now this, oh yes, this Tree Shaker Crimea, I think this is basically what wins me the game, because I'm able to get rid of his his creatures. You see, I'm just, yeah, I do attack here because she's got nothing that can stop my Deadmaw. And this is what I mean, it's like he's got something he can do, but something I notice is that you can often do things, but like it doesn't actually affect the game. So it's like you're never going to do this thing, which the game is telling you can do the thing, but you don't have to do the thing. So you sort of just got to click resolve, and sometimes you get like resolve all. Sometimes I don't notice that I'm meant to be clicking that. It's like my opponent's turn, but it needs me to resolve all, as I could technically do something. Yeah, I think I was just trying to see if this mage, this legendary planeswalker, actually does anything more than what it's already doing. See, my opponent finally played a half decent creature, but I've got 2 like really big ones. I don't know if he was expecting me to go for the planeswalker. I attacked it once thinking, is that a priority to get rid of planeswalkers, or just attack the enemy directly? He's taken forever to do anything. Now this card, I don't understand a card like this card, because it is insane. Decide to go on the attack here. I think this is more or less game over at this point. My opponent just hasn't been doing anything. Like, usually when you play, there's something going on behind the scenes, like a build-up of abilities or whatever. But like here, my opponent has just been doing nothing compared to me. I've slowly but surely built up a bunch of powerful creatures, and that's all you need to win, right? It's really powerful creatures to get through your enemy's creatures. So you see here, I think he's a bit confused because he has to attack that tree shaker. That's the ability. So all his creatures are gonna, 2 of his creatures are gonna die. Yeah, I think I did that right. That allows me to kill all 3. Otherwise it would just kill 2. The different damage comes in at different times. And my opponent is... what's he doing? What's he doing? Yep, there you go. You block them all. Oh, and apparently I draw 3 cards from that as well. So that's game over right there, basically. Just because of that one card I had. I'll block all his creatures. That allows me to get my other damage in. And then I draw 3 cards as well. So, but there was nothing I really had to do to achieve that. I just had to play that tree shaker card. I have no idea what that was about.
Every thought matters.
I suppose banishing cards. Yeah, he just says Christ 2 again. Like, this is a good match because I'm just like kind of learning what this deck does, and I'm playing against someone who I thought would be like good, but they just can't do anything to me. And there you go, he concedes. So that was a good game, I guess. So we jump into game number 2 that I've got here, playing the same deck, although I draw some different cards this time. This is something I don't get, is the mulligan stage. I always just keep my 7. If you mulligan, you get a new hand, but then you have to get rid of one of your cards. So it makes sense to me to just hold on to your cards rather than risk getting a worse hand and then being 1 card down. I think you always draw 3 mana, but then your creatures and spells or whatever are different. And yeah, like that previous game, I don't know, I'm new to the game, but my opponent wasn't really sure what his plan was. Whereas in this game, this guy seems to be a bit more competitive. And, you know, it's a lot more fun when it's, you know, close or competitive, you know? And again, like, I'm just playing these games, and every deck I come across, you know, is different, right? Like, there's new cards to learn every match. This is a green against green. I don't really know if there's any, like, if the colours, different coloured decks, sort of, some work better against others or not. Or whether it's just you get certain types of creatures and spells. I think green is sort of known for having really big creatures, I think. I got like that Titanic Growth and Colossal Deadmore, sort of going really tall, like tall units, I guess you'd call it in playing Gwent. And then here's a situation where I found myself in quite a bit, is where I sort of like, oh, I can't really play anything for a while. the sort of the cards in my deck aren't cards in my hand. Sorry, aren't really any good for like early round. I guess I haven't gone into deck building yet, but I guess like most games, you kind of need a balance of sort of low cost and high cost stuff. I know in Hearthstone it's really, you need that balance. Like in something like Gwent, it's your high cost stuff that wins the game, but you can play your high cost stuff whenever. Like there's no limit. You play your worst card or you can play your best card. And it's more about the sequencing. When do you play your best card? Whereas in this, you've got the mana going on. There's obviously reasons when you need to save a powerful card, but like this Iron Scale Hydra, it's a case of get it out as soon as possible, right? Like you're shooting yourself in the foot unless you get that Iron Scale Hydra out. That's what I think anyway. And this Iron Scale Hydra is just a very powerful card, I think. I think here's a misplay. Why I play both of those. I really don't think I had to put it on the Iron Scale Hydra. You see, there, like, he doesn't block for whatever reason. But you almost win the game in, 2 hits. But it stays like this for a while now. This is what I mean. My opponent here is actually... my opponent here is actually doing things. Now there, I don't know what happened there, actually. I think he should have attacked me, right? But he maybe couldn't. Maybe those boosts he did, maybe they were... maybe they were just for defense only, not for attack. And again, I think... yeah, the Iron Scale Hydra, it doesn't die if it's blocking. I think it does die if you attack and your opponent blocks. So basically I'm holding off from attacking. Because he's got these creatures boosted up. They're going to be able to take out my creatures. And he's in a position with that much damage that would become pretty close. And we're in a weird situation because he's got 1 card in hand, I've got 2 cards in hand. But I've got these plummet cards which only affect flying units. So unless he's playing a flying unit, which he's not, it's no good. And basically here, I guess a newbie player would sort of would just try attacking, but I'm holding off from attacking. I think here I'm doing the maths. And I don't attack. For some reason. You see here, if he gets through my defences, he's gonna just utterly own me, right? But the same for me. I don't attack. I think the next time... basically I'm in a position where I've just got to have more creatures than him, get through his defences, and I just need one of my creatures to deal the 3 damage, right? So that's why I keep holding off. Doing the calculations. It's a bit like chess. I basically checkmate him, essentially. I've noticed a lot of people in this game, they just concede. And again, now I'm watching it back and do I have enough? Do I have enough? And I do have enough. Now we watch him. He's got no cards in hand, so all he can do is block, right? So he has to block the big boys with his big boys, which means my big boys are going to die. He's got 3 more cards, but I've got 4 more cards, and which means one of my cards is going to get through, essentially. Like, there's nothing he can do, he's lost. He's sort of trying to figure it out, but he can't. He literally can't do anything about it. So this was a fun situation where I just, like I said, I checkmated him. And there you go, you can see it. Well, I haven't had that happen too many times, like a checkmate situation. Well, I suppose maybe it happens a lot because I never concede because I want to learn the game. Whereas it's fairly obvious sometimes when you just lose, right? Anyway, that was my little sort of retrospective on some early matches. Hope you enjoyed listening, and I don't know if I'm going to play more Magic the Gathering. I enjoy it, but I think it's just like the investment to get into it is like you're looking at like hours upon hours before you really get properly invested. And it's like when you've got another card game of a similar nature on the go, it's hard to divide your time between one or the other, right? Because I keep on meaning to get back into Hearthstone, but I sort of just feel like I've missed so much. It'll be like such an investment to get back into Hearthstone. But I think I might come dabble back in Magic. It makes a nice change from Gwent. For me, Gwent is kind of gotten stale, but like it's just a better card game in my opinion to Magic. But then maybe I wouldn't say that if I, like I said, just got to invest more in Magic to really get into it. Anyway, thanks for listening and hope you enjoyed the video.